What's up guys, Justinvels here, and today I'm back with another commentary video, and today I'm going to be talking about Dandadan. Yeah, I'm finally done with the series, so if you want to hear my thoughts and opinions on the Dandadan anime, stay tuned. And if you like more content like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, release the intro! So if you're new to the channel, you would know that there was a point in time where I was reviewing Dandadan like every single week, like from season 1 to season 2, I was pretty much covering every single episode until I kind of just magically stopped. It's a bit weird why I stopped, but not really at the same time. I felt like the show just fell off for me. The spark that it had in season 1 compared to season 2 was completely different, and maybe it's because I was in the honeymoon period with the show, but I also just think the writing of the show kind of got a bit inconsistent, let's just say that. So one of my main issues with the season, and I'm just going to get this out quickly, is just the fact that the season was very obviously split, and in the sense that obviously you're allowed to have part 1 and part 2 of a series. It just genuinely felt like he was covering the same storyline, and then you've literally just abruptly stopped, and then you've just said, okay, we're just gonna release some of the episodes later down the line, and maybe they won't realize, right? No, I realized, and I'm surprised a lot of people didn't really say anything about this. I felt like the beginning of season 2 was a bit crazy. It kind of just like started off exactly where we left off. Again, it kind of just shows how lazy can people be with the release schedules, and I don't want to point fingers at the animation studio because they're pretty new, they're pretty good, so cool. I don't know if this is a Netflix thing or a Crunchyroll thing, I'm not too sure, I'm gonna be real, but the release schedule is ridiculous. You guys are a new series, you're not Bleach, you're not JJK, heck, even AOT we got fed up after a certain point. I just felt like you're a new show, and don't get me wrong, it's gained the audience to a degree, it doesn't really make that much sense, I'm gonna be so real. And then for the audacity for the show to kind of like release season 3, because season 3's been announced for the most part, right? I believe it's either a year or a 2-year wait, right? Which when you think about it, it's technically 2 years, considering that season 2, I put that in heavy quotations, was basically released 6 months after, which kind of makes you think, why is that? And obviously it's because of the money. Other than that, my main issue with the series is also just the lack of direction of the plot. Now don't get me wrong, season 1 was written really well. It felt like we had a very clear goal of like, okay, Ken, and then we have Momo try and get Ken's golden balls back. Pause. Like that seems to be like the whole thing where they're just tackling like, you know, different ghost spirits, whatever you want to call it, which is actually pretty cool. It's like ghost stories in a weird way. And then we get introduced to other characters, you know, like Ira and even Jiji, which I'm about to just cook this guy in a moment. And even Kinta is crazy as well, but I'll get there in a moment. So if you want to wait for Justinvels hate video special, this is the video, trust me, this is the video. After this, there's going to be no more positive things about this show. So with the whole Ira situation going on in season 2, or I guess the ending of season 1, it kind of left us in a weird love triangle type of thing, which wasn't too bad. And obviously the introduction of Jiji also kind of did that as well. You got the Ken side and then you got the Momo side, kind of seeing both perspectives of, is my girl going to get stolen or is my man going to get stolen type of perspective, which I think is not bad considering the show is technically a romance but has been undercut by its shonen narratives, because there is times where it's like you can tell the creator really wants to focus on like the romance aspect and then just kind of remembers, oh yeah, I forgot I'm on that Shueisha Shonen Jump payroll, so let me just add a couple fight scenes, which obviously that works, but it also ends in a bit of a predicament in the manga as well, because guess what, the creator had to take a break for doing the exact same thing because it doesn't really work after you do it for the 5th time, does it? And that kind of becomes a problem within the series, right, where it's like it keeps leaping back and forth between going through the whole shonen aspect and then going through the whole romance aspect. And obviously I know it can't commit to one, it's very blatant that it can't commit to one, which I don't really think is a bad thing, but there are ways that it could go about it. Obviously you have awesome characters like Ira with her backstory with the acrobatic Silky, which to be honest, I think so far, I think that's probably the best backstory we've gotten so far in the show, which I thought, you know what, this is peak writing, it can't get better than this. But with every peak there's a bottom, and this is where I introduce to you Jiji, the first horseman of the show's downfall. Oh my goodness, I cannot stand this guy. Even though I think he's a great guy, he's not a bad guy. However, this guy's whole thing with the evil eye spirit is top 5 worst inner demon contracts in all of anime. I would rather take the Sukuna contract than this, because what do you mean he can transform into the evil eye with just hot and cold water? That doesn't even make any sense. The man's a liability, and to be honest, I don't want to be rude, I think they should have just taken Turbo Granny's advice and kind of just take him out of the show. I'm just saying. Now, do I think narratively he makes that much sense? Yeah, he does, because he does add kind of like a love triangle type of situation for the whole Momo and Ken situation, which is fine because Ken gets a bit jealous that Jiji is going to try and take Momo away from him, which works as a 1 or 2 episode conflict. I'm just going to read out a couple characteristics about this character and you guys let me know what you guys think. He's a high schooler with pink hair who's also super athletic and has a resistance to curses. No, I'm not talking about Yuji Itadori, I am talking about Jiji. The way how I feel about this character, I am so sorry. I think he's a cool guy. If he was a real guy, I would probably be friends with him. But in the show, it's it's like after the whole evil eye spirit thing, like that initial arc, it's like the show doesn't know what to do with him. Either give him the whole inner demon treatment and just have him be friends with the evil eye, or allow him to like have some sort of deal, because even when he struck the deal, it still sounds one-sided as hell. It doesn't make any sense. So I felt like Jinji's a good character that's just been flip-flop around the whole series, and they just don't know what to do with him narratively wise. And it's like his narrative and plot line just capped with the evil eye, and it's like, oh, we kind of have to keep him here now because he's part of the supernatural squad, you know, the Scooby-Doo crew, which is kind of sad because he was basically introduced as a potential fraudulent love interest. So this is just really just the first horseman, to be honest, of whatever nonsense is going on in this show. Then I have to introduce to you Kinta. This box-headed big bag Yajirobe wannabe 4 eyes wearing waste of space is literally the epitome of a terrible gag character gone wrong. I do not like this Kinta guy. I don't see the hype around him. I'm so sorry. Like, people were telling me this guy's gonna be a goat. Wait until Kinta shows up. Oh my days. I think even with his introduction, I just thought, nah, you have somehow made a character designed to be a nerd be even worse. He makes Ken actually look like the guy that Momo thinks he is, because Ken knows he's a nerd, but at least he tries. At least he's not like corny. This guy is corny as hell. And the worst part about it is when he joins, they try to make it seem as if he's there the entire time. They try to give us like amnesia. At the same time, I get it. Kinta is probably not even a character that was probably thought of the same day his chapter released. Only good thing he did to actually make me care is the fact that this guy was able to form a Megazord out of like nanotech or whatever, like he's Iron Man, which was kind of cool until he gets pieced up by the fake Godzilla, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is insane.
I seen everything, man, everything. I seen the nigga get killed right over there, you know? They beat him up, stomped him, shot the dude, stomped the nigga again, and then I seen him take a dump on the dude. And I started thinking to myself, man, what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
They tried to give him a bit of shine, and then instantly he just gets dog walked. And then I started thinking to myself, where have I seen this before? This man is low-key Kiba and Yamcha, and not in a good way. You can try and make him cool as much as you want, but like, he's just not there. And that is like the worst part about Kinta. So at this point, you can tell I probably really don't like Kinta. And you're thinking, this is the pinnacle of my hate, which is kind of crazy because I really like this show. But I watched the last episode of season 2, and then that's when I was like, oh my days, it's just going worse. So you remember the fake Godzilla I was talking about, right? Really does look like a monster straight out of Power Rangers. At this point, they end up taking the Godzilla that's kind of shrunk down to like semi-human size, right? And this is probably the only good thing Jinji has ever done in his life, which is help Ken actually take the Godzilla clone to Momo's house just to try and sort out what's going on, because, you know, they kind of want to cover it up, which makes sense. Now, what doesn't make any sense is the fact that after they open the Godzilla suit, they basically find out that there's actually a person inside, and this person happens to be a girl, or an alien in heavy quotation marks, because every alien happens to look like Iroh with a different hair color. But this is neither here or there. So this alien girl basically ends up waking up and giving Ken the Starfire special, you know, kissing the main character to learn English, because for some reason that's how their race works, you know. Again, going back to the whole show, remembering, hey, I actually kind of do romance. So that's how they kind of insert it in there to try and shock the audience. And what makes it even worse is obviously Momo's watching this. This is where the show keeps going back and forth whether it wants to do shonen or romance. Again, I do not have an issue with a show incorporating romance. In fact, one of my favorite romance shows is Toradora, so that should say a lot. I actually don't mind romance shows. I'll sit down and watch a romance show. There's just better ways of implementing it. At this point, where are we progressing with the story? Obviously, I'm assuming next season is definitely going to try and tackle this whole situation to do with Ken having another love interest, because remember, Ira isn't over Ken. They explicitly showed that like multiple times that Ira isn't over Ken. So it's one of those things, it's not just one girl fighting over Ken. It's about 3, which is kind of crazy, because how on earth are we going to be moving past this? And it kind of does make you think, where could season 3 go with this, where it doesn't kind of just make you think, okay, we're just flip-flopping back and forth between 2 things that's going on? And the answer is, it doesn't. I don't see a way how season 3 can basically top the interestedness of season 1 unless we go back to just tackling spirits and actually having decent backstory, because going back and forth between the whole romance and shonen trope gets boring very quickly. Sometimes dandadan just needs to just streamline itself. It's not that hard. I know sometimes you want to try and capture both audiences, which is fine, honestly, and I don't think it does it that badly. I think the only love trope that does work in this show so far is just Momo and Ken. That is the only love trope where I felt like, you know what, it's actually not that bad. It's actually written pretty well. Everything else that they're trying to do with the love tetrahedron or pentagon, I don't even know at this point. They need to stop that. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. It's like you're trying to force the show to be more spicier than what it is. Yeah, I feel like we might need to just explore a couple things. For example, Momo's psychic abilities. Where the hell did that come from? I feel like definitely other than that, the storyline of the show isn't that bad. I feel like it just needs to find its ground. Hopefully it does. Pacing of the show is not bad. The animation for season 2 is obviously really good. I did feel like there were some sequences in season 1, like for example with like Ken and Momo versus Turbo Granny. To be honest, that was like the best episode in the series so far. I'm gonna be so real, like the animators really cooked. But I feel like they did well with season 2 as well. There's definitely no inconsistencies, and I'm not gonna sit down and complain about animation. But the release schedule just needs to change, because I have no idea what's going on with this show. If they're not careful, this is gonna be one of those shows where either it gets cancelled or they take a break that's way too long that people end up forgetting, because this show is super fast paced for what it is. Do not let the rant fool you. Half these storylines go on within like a span of like maybe 1 or 2 episodes. If this was One Piece, they would have stretched this to 300 episodes minimum. I'm sorry. Sometimes you have to take your blessings where you can. But yeah, that's my rant done for dandadan, and technically my review for the remaining of season 2 as well. So don't ask me to cover any more episodes unless season 3 drops. And yeah, don't forget to check out my previous videos as well. And for those of you who don't know, I did drop a Black Clover video, and I just dropped a video to do with Cyberpunk Edge Runner season 2, so it doesn't really hurt to check that one out as well. But if you like more content like this, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. We're gaining subs, we're gaining views, and you know what to do, run up the numbers. So yeah, peace.